Let's sit back and relax, mate. Get into it. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Welcome to today's episode of the Elite Executive Podcast. I am here in a new look studio in Vic Park. This is the very first session that I've recorded in the new look Hush Connective. We've got it all set up nicely. It's a bit different now. If anyone's watching the video, you can see that we're sitting at a table across from each other here rather than at a bench. So it's going to be a different conversation. I feel like we could just be sitting in a pub here, John, to be honest, and just
the pints.
Just having a couple of pints here the way it's set up. But guys, welcome to the podcast. We've got John here from Kilmore Group. John, tell us a bit about you, mate. Tell us about mainly the start. Who are Kilmore Group? That's a good place to start, I guess.
So Kilmore Group are a specialist contractor. We've had a very strong growth over the last 8 years. We've been going for about 8 years. We started very small, probably borderline starting to be looking like a large company now at this stage. Right. We've got over 110 employees.
Nice.
And we're probably approaching that revenue mark that we would classify us as a large company. So yeah, it's been good. It's been a fun journey. Good transition. So brilliant. We specialise. We do about 80% of our work comes from either state government or local government. Mm-hmm. We kind of gear ourselves up for those types of clients. They require probably a bit more rigorous paperwork and those kind of administration heavy projects, which a lot of other builders kind of would probably like to avoid. But we kind of are comfortable in that space, which is good.
Nice. And what's your specific role then with Kilmore, mate?
So I'm the group business manager. So I would look after strategy and finance and those kinds of things. So business administration and business support would fall under my banner. So we'll have people, our departments underneath me would be HR, HSEQ, accounts, group development and business strategy, and marketing and communications all sit underneath my banner.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And when we connected, mate, through a mutual friend, Jamie, he said, get John on, he's the man from there, he'll love a yarn, anything to do with business development, he'll come on and have a good yarn, mate, so that's good.
Promotion never hurts, does it?
That's it, absolutely, mate, absolutely. So tell us about, prior to that, if people, they'll probably have guessed by now, but if they can't guess, mate, it's a similar, you're my countryman, similar accent. How long have you been in Perth, mate, and when you came over, what was life like?
So we'll probably start with how we got here, I suppose. So I graduated in 2010, which was just in the back ass of the global financial crisis. Mm-hmm. The prospects for engineers in Ireland or the UK wasn't very good at that stage, and it was either you had a choice to get on the plane or join the dole queue. So yeah, I joined the many other young Irish people that came here. And just fell in love with the place. So it's so that was 2011. We came in to work in holiday visa. We did our 1 year and then went back home again and put the wheels in motion to get our PR visa, based on qualifications that I had, and came back in 2013 and I've been here ever since.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant.
So it's been good.
In terms of, coming off the back of that financial crisis and job opportunities being limited back home, mate, how did you find in that first year with finding work and then also going for a longer stay visa with the PR, finding work to allow you to be able to stay?
Yeah, there's probably two stories that come to mind. I think it's difficult, and it was difficult, and I don't care what anybody says. Whenever you move to another country and you don't have your network or connections, it's difficult to get a run on the ladder, as such. So not having that network, you needed to make yourself stand out, and it was very difficult to get a job in the first instance. Even I did have some experience at home, and as I said, I'd kind of hid in university and had a master's degree. Didn't really matter.
Yeah,
it was all about who you knew.
Yeah.
I remember the first job I got, actually a qualified engineer, but I went for a drafting position with one of the large multinational consultancy firms, and I went in to the job interview and he asked me what my salary expectations were, and I remember telling him it was $60,000 a year, and I had just done the conversion from home based on what a drafter would make there, and he said, "Oh, you mean $60 an hour?" And I didn't correct him, and I remember going back to Joanne and going, "How did you go?" And he goes, "Oh, I reckon I messed it up." He said $60 an hour, and I didn't correct him. He probably thinks I'm, loopy if I can look at that kind of money. And then 2 or 3 days later, the recruiter rang me and said he's come back with this offer that we're kind of on. It's a bit more than we were expecting. He said he's offered you $60 an hour, and I got a job and flying then, and couldn't believe my luck. And I was on this back then. That was big money, and I was driving a $500 jalopy to work, and it was good. It was unreliable. It wouldn't start in the rain and all this. But I was making all these big monies. But look, that kind of solidified this is kind of where the opportunities are at. So on the back of that, we kind of put down the plan as such to get the PR.
Yeah.
So we instead of relying on sponsorships and that, we just kind of went straight to the PR route based on the qualifications. So that was good. It took time.
Yeah.
So we went home in between that time. When we came back then, it was the same situation. Get on the blower. I came out before Joanne came out to get set up, and it was very difficult to get a job at that stage. It was 2013. I think there was a little bit of a slowdown around then. We had just seen a bit of a peak probably in 2012, and we're kind of coming off the back of that. And it was getting harder to get work. So, but yeah, there was. I looked at the Irish community. We went to the. I think it was the Irish Australian Forum, or for Western Australia, IWAF, I think it was called. That was great because it had a lot of professional Irish people in business that you could network with and connect and try and make that network that you were kind of missing from home.
Yeah.
So we got a few contacts out of that. The other thing that I did was kind of out there. I joined the St. Patrick's Day committee on what kind of false pretenses, if you want to put it that way. I'd seen that Sally Ann MacDonald had been looking for surveyors online, and not to go the normal route. You need to stand out. So I joined. I seen she was also very active in the St. Patrick's Day committee at that time. So I joined the St. Patrick's Day committee with the intention of getting a job from Sally Ann MacDonald, which kind of worked out, and I was with them for 4 years. So that took me back into civil engineering and the railways, and I've seen some fantastic parts of Western Australia. Traveled with them and working on the railways.
Brilliant.
So it was. But then I think I did about 4, maybe 5 years with them, and was getting itchy feet to get back into consultancy work. I kind of always had in my head that as an engineer I wanted to go and do consultancy work and design and engineering and work on these big infrastructure projects, but sometimes the grass is not greener. So I think I had that conversation with Sally Ann and Andy, and they were very supportive, and go and tell your boss that, I'm going to leave because I want to go and do this. And they were like, no, just wait. And then they used their network, which was, above mine, to get me a position. In that, and under secondment, which was unbelievably generous. They didn't have to do that. So they definitely looked after me.
Good people looking after good people.
Fantastic. I think that the Irish community are very strong in that regard, where we do look after each other, and it's important that we do. And you don't get that in other expat communities here. Like I don't think that exists in, well, maybe it does. I'm just not aware of it. But in the British expat community or the South African expat community, we do look after each other. On an equal note, we need to be careful not to cut each other down whenever.
True.
We're also guilty of that. So so I'm very supportive now. I'm in a good position to also be very supportive of our other Irish people. And if they ever want advice, definitely very willing to give it.
I mean, that's interesting. So you've got like 110 employees. Obviously, you give people jobs based on their merit and qualification and that. But do you do any recruiting from overseas? Like I get a lot of people they hire a lot of Irish boys, and they come across knowing they're going to get a job with X company or Y company.
Not by design. We did whenever there was a massive labour shortage just coming off the back of COVID. It was very hard to get trades. And one of the things that we struggled with, was trying to put the right bums in the right seats. And we did look at going over to Ireland and bringing them in. But I wouldn't say it's not by design, but it kind of just happened. And our network is kind of largely relatable to the Irish community, and we know a lot of Irish people, and so it kind of naturally we kind of gravitate towards Irish tradesmen. But saying that there's we've got a lot of Brazilians work for Kilmore Group. There's Hungarians, English guys, Australians, Hungarians, Kiwis. There's a big mixing pot in there. But it's not. People would kind of, if you do go in there, you probably could come to the conclusion that there's a lot of Irish people there. It's not by design. It's just kind of happened naturally that way. So it is. One of those individuals that works for us that I have to give a plug is actually Andy and Sally Ann's son.
Right.
So now works for Kilmore Group, whereas I worked for. So it's just kind of good full circle. So
good stuff, mate. Good stuff. And people will probably know, like, I think I was aware. I'd added, like, I always just add people who look interesting on LinkedIn, and I'd added you, and I'd added, funny enough, Oren, the other head of Kilmore Group. Spelled slightly different for anyone listening, but I was just adding people, and then you sort of realise you're driving past. I live in Doubleview, driving past Osborne Park, going up that road. And I'm like, oh shit, right, there's Kilmore Group. Recognise that name because I've added you on thing, and then it's like this spiral effect. When you see something once, like you want to go buy a red Mazda, you see red Mazdas everywhere, and then next thing I see a truck on the freeway, and then I see, even the day before I met you, I was in the city having coffee with a client, and I look out through a little gap, and obviously one of the trucks is in doing some work somewhere in that building, and I see Kilmore Group in this tiny little back alley of the city somewhere. And it seems like the trucks and the vans and the utes are everywhere now, mate. And I said to you downstairs, I told somebody else, who I'm quite close with, I said, oh, I've got somebody from Kilmore Group coming in. He said, oh yeah, who are they? I see their trucks everywhere when I'm around Frio or whatever. So it seems like you guys are everywhere. And that branding is,
I think it's very, very important, and it's something that we're continuously improving and working on. I think that's essentially that's our advertisement. That's if you walk past a building site and it's the fences are everywhere and it's shit, or the vehicle looks shit. Your expectation is that company's shit. But if you have your banners and your mesh looking slick, your vehicles look slick, then your expectation is, well, there's a company that do a quality job, they're a quality company, and that's important. And we're probably in the process. Some of our vehicles they're getting a bit tatty and older looking, so we'll probably look at changing them out, and that's a big driver for that. Is less about the capital cost and actually the image. On what that represents. So it's the same with the gear. You need to look after it, and same with the boys rocking up in uniforms, and like we've mandatory for our sites that all the guys wear long and longs. They need to look presentable at all times, and we give them, if your shirt ripped, here's another shirt. The expectation is that you're on site and on show is you need to be looking the part.
Nice.
But branding is massively important, and especially in our industry, I think if you get the branding right, and we definitely we're not quite perfected it yet. We're constantly changing, and so this. But our branding's always been something that we're very strong with. One of the best marketing things that we actually did whenever we were in the facade space was we were probably one of the first to brand our sarking, which is the vapor barrier that goes behind the cladding. And if you drive past any building site, you'll see this blue sarking that's everywhere, and it's just a massive opportunity to have a plug. So we branded it with all our logos, and then that really got in people's face as well. So I see them everywhere. I've got signs everywhere. We're just in the process of covering it up, but it essentially is a billboard in every project. You know?
Yeah, because you see that all the time. It's maybe got the Bunnings Trade logo or somebody else on there. But so why not be your logo, right?
Be our logo, and if
great.
anything, it give us a kick up the ass to get it covered, because you don't want to say that's been sitting there for months. You know, so it's get it covered. So yeah,
nice, mate. Nice, good stuff. And one job that I noticed, again, this brand awareness thing. You know, I drive past it all the time, but then, you know, I like to use a driving range at Wembley, you know, and noticed that on one of their posts on Instagram one day, they put up all progress is, you know, that we were nearly there with the job, and you know, you seen the whole hoarding out the front with the Kilmore Group logo. I was like, oh, fuck, that's them boys doing that job. I'm seeing these guys everywhere again. So talk about that sort of job, mate. Like, you know, obviously that's involved with local government, with that being City of Vincent.
It's Town of Cambridge.
Town of Cambridge, sorry, so in terms of the jobs you do, how much is it something like that versus, you know, like high rise versus a regular sort of build?
So we kind of positioned ourselves in the kind of the remediation space. So maybe start from the start. Probably
go for it.
So we started as a facade subcontractor. We built quite a strong reputation servicing like tier 2s and tier 3 building contractors in the facade space. So we'd done quite a few. We'd done, you know, schools for PS Structures. We had done, you know, some stuff for Giorgio. We had done a lot of stuff for Focus in that space. You know, so we would kind of built a very strong reputation for that. But what we had was also going on in the background was the Grenfell Tower disaster that happened in London, just before we had started Kilmore, and that the repercussions of that meant that a lot of the combustible cladding that had been installed prior to that needed to come off and get replaced. So we strategically positioned ourselves in a position where we could deliver that without the need of a builder, because it was a one trade exercise. You know, that really paid off, and we kind of became. It was probably us and another company that were kind of dominating that market, and you know, it was working directly for government or private sector clients, and it was so much easier trying to deal with a principal rather than a building contractor who you know, they know a contract, they know how to squeeze a subcontractor, and you know, it was just a delight. And we're kind of going, right, okay, so either we're gonna go back into subcontracting for these tier 2s and tier 3s, or if you can't beat them, join them, kind of thing. And we became the principal contractor, and we seen what services they actually also needed, what those clients required, and in that kind of remediation capex space. So it was kind of waterproofing, concrete repair, all to do with brownfield construction on the outside of the building. So didn't want to get into fit outs, or you know, that market was pretty saturated with other contractors, but the remediation space was kind of where we found that we were strong at, in terms of getting to difficult places, logistics, working on the outside of buildings. We were just comfortable in that, so we kind of took on some more people that were experts in that field, and built a strong reputation in kind of the remedial space. So now we're kind of transitioning further into the principal contractor space, again servicing those same clients. Answer to your question, the Wembley was a remediation job. So its location to the coast picks up a lot of salt spray. Being blew in, and it was kind of corroding and eating away at the steel. So we had to do a remediation job and protect that structure from any more corrosion, and give it a protective coating. In the process, we also changed some of the facade elements. But that's one of 3 jobs that we've currently got on, where at that time we had currently got on for Town of Cambridge, so a lot of repeat business.
Good.
Which is very important to us as well. So, you know, we do a lot for the City of Vincent. Like, we've won 2 or 3 jobs for them, 3 jobs for Cambridge, a couple of jobs we've done now for Armadale. We've done one for City of Perth, so hopefully we'll see some more from them as well.
Brilliant.
A lot of jobs for the Department of Finance, which is now Housing and Works, they're fantastic clients.
Brilliant.
Can't really complain.
Brilliant, man. And then how, I'm trying to think of you and your role, mate. You know, you were listing all these departments. You know, obviously Oren handles one side of the business, you handle the other, and you, I guess, different skill sets in that. But you're talking about an engineer by trade who's come over from Ireland and is running, you know, a lot of different elements to a business. Like, what sort of skills do you have now that maybe you didn't have coming across? That, you know, for the listeners, it's probably good to talk about the stuff that was hard, right? Like, what didn't come naturally to you as a business manager that then you had to learn how to evolve and lead the team and lead these departments like that?
I don't think you ever stop learning. I think you're on a continual journey, learning and developing your growing in your craft. So there's I think what was challenging. Everything was challenging, but it was a rewarding challenge. You know, like going from an engineer and not having any exposure to how to do a BAS statement was a learning curve. You know, how do you do you know, how do we navigate payroll tax?
Yeah.
You know, and as we progressively got bigger, we're evolving now. We're having conversations about how do we navigate bank guarantee facilities and security, and, you know, how do we up that level, and strategically what do we need to do in order to have that provision there for further growth.
Yeah, sure.
So it's really interesting. Like, whenever you stop and listen to yourself, sometimes, geez, I didn't think I was going to be talking about this.
Yeah.
Ever, you know, but it's very, I think it's very rewarding, and just the tactics you can use in terms of, well, I can free up this capital over here, and I've got that asset over there. I'm going to put that into the pot, and it's fantastic. But in terms of the challenges of, like, everything was, you know, has its challenge, but it didn't seem, and I think Oren would agree with me. At the time, it never really seemed like a burden or I can't do this. You know, It was kind of like, right, what do we need to do to get this done to get to the next level? I kind of related to playing a computer game. You know, you start at the real simple level. Okay, you've done that, now go to the next level and next level.
Yeah, sure.
And now we're kind of about halfway through the levels. You know, so we want to keep going, you know, and you just find out what do you need to do to get to the next level, and it becomes a bit of a challenge for you, and it's kind of just push to get to the next level.
And what do you feel is needed from you, mate, to evolve? You're talking about becoming a principal contractor now, and you know, leading that charge and going up that next level. What's the next bit of the learning curve?
I think we are there. We're doing the principal contractor, the Floyd job for that's a principal contractor refurb of the existing clubhouse there. We're also doing a greenfield construction project for the town of our city of Boulder and Kalgoorlie. Which is a big project for us in the goldfields. So we're there. What we're struggling with now, I wouldn't say struggling, but we've kind of built a very strong reputation in this remedial space. And the same thing happened to us whenever we were subcontractor. We were a very strong reputation as a facade subcontractor. So when people go, you know, Kilmore, them boys just do facades, or Kilmore, they just do remedial projects, and you kind of you don't get shortlisted for the opportunities in the greenfield space because of that strong reputation.
Sure.
But yet we have all the capabilities to do it, you know. And we invested quite heavily in the team and the experience to bring that into the team. And we're probably we're probably a lot more disciplined than a lot of other people.
Yeah, right.
A lot of other companies in that we're trying to compete with in terms of our financial capabilities, and because we do everything we do is for government, so we're scrutinised quite a bit.
Sure.
For our financial capabilities and our back of house. You know, it's all pretty legit, and there's certain metrics that you need to tick to be able to tender that kind of work. So so we're kind of, the next hurdle is kind of, and it goes back into that marketing piece, is to kind of rebrand. Again, I wouldn't say rebrand, but they kind of break down that very, what we've created is, you know, that very strong reputation as being a remedial contractor. Now we need to be seen as those guys are a player in the greenfield space as well. So
Nice.
So that'll be the challenge over the next 12 months. So and doing projects like Floriat and the Goldfields Pavilion will push us up that line.
Yeah, sure.
And make us real contenders. So
yeah, brilliant, mate. Brilliant. And then, mate, for you personally, let's talk, because there's probably a lot of Irish people, whether it's business owners here or people who will listen or nosy people from back home, mate. Let's be honest, we want to know what John's up to. Yeah. But let's talk about coming across. You came specifically to Perth.
Yeah.
Was there a reason for that?
I went to an expo in Dublin, and I got a job. I thought I got a job with Fletcher's Group. I'm going to name them because I'm a bit angry about them still. Fletcher's Group gave me a job to go to Christchurch, to the Christchurch earthquake. It just happened at that stage, and he gave me the job on the spot, and he told me to go up the road and get the visa sorted, and he'd book the tickets and would be off to New Zealand, and it was going to happen, very quickly. So I went up and convinced Joanne that she was going to New Zealand, and sold my banger of a car, and had told everybody, and had the party sorted and organised, and then he stopped answering his phone. So I said, Jesus, Joanne, we've told everybody we're going now anyway, so we may as well go. So we had I have a cousin here, Philip, and we came over to him, essentially, just a friendly face to the other side of the world, just to get started. So he put us up for a couple of weeks until we got on our feet.
Nice.
So yeah. So, but then we never went anywhere else. So
didn't look back.
No, we never looked back, or we didn't really look towards the east at all. We were just quite content with what Perth has to offer.
I mean, I feel like, and I bring this up every time I've got somebody Irish on, I feel like when you talk to the locals here, because it is like a smaller city in Australia, like for us back home, like this is 2 million people in the city, like that's major. You know what I mean? Like I think I grew up in a time with maybe like 20,000 people or whatever max, maybe if you take the village and the whole surrounding couple of mile, probably even smaller than that. I'm probably overestimating.
I think the whole population of Northern Ireland's about 1.9 million or so.
Is it right? Okay.
So and we have it all in one city. This is basically about 70 kilometres strip.
Yeah, but for people here, like they see it as, I'm just in Perth. It's this quiet town. Everything's quote unquote backwards, the Sunday opening doesn't open late, coffee shops close early, all this other things. So they get drawn in by the other cities in Australia, but also like UK culture that seem to love going to London and working over there or Scotland or somewhere and get drawn in by that. But I find that whenever we come over here, like there's so many opportunities, and like coastline is fantastic, the weather's good. I know it's been a bit colder this winter and everything, and it's still not really summer weather yet. It's a bit cloudy outside as we're recording this, but it still knocks the arse out of back home in the UK and a lot of other countries that I've been in, but people just don't appreciate it when you've grown up here, I find.
Well, I think I've had moments where I'm driving over the Narrows and it's sun splitting the skies and you're looking up at Kings Park and you're just nipping yourself, I can't believe that I live here. Yeah. It's just it's just the opportunity. It depends what you want. Yeah. If you want to go and do that nightlife thing and you stay out to the wee hours of the morning, get up at 10 o'clock and if you're in that stage of your life, go to Melbourne, fine, that's where you want to be. But if you're kind of, what drew me to Perth was it's just the opportunities here, and we're only getting going. Like I think like Perth is the colony, if you want to. I'm not getting into technicalities of that, but it was only established 200 years ago. We're only getting started. Yeah. And there's just so much opportunity here. Yeah. So I just fell in love with the opportunities, and I liked the way, if you put in the effort, and you just work hard. Yeah. And you'll get whatever you want out of this place. Like it's there for you. And there's room for everybody to take those opportunities. So we need more people to take more opportunities, and there's no lack of competition. So it kind of the opportunities are definitely there, and you see that in the Irish community a lot. A lot of young men have come over, and ladies have come over here and they've taken that jump and opportunity, and they're doing fantastically well. Yeah. Even in the time since I've been here, there's a lot of Irish people now that are very high up. You've had a few of them on your podcast in different roles within different industries. And the common denominator that is we're hungry, we're get goers, but also the opportunities are here for them to take those roles.
Yeah.
So,
Fine. Is something to do with work ethic now? I'm not saying other, nationalities don't have work ethic, but what I find is, regardless of who I'm talking to, I could be talking to somebody who's building a house at the back of ours, and he's like, "Oh, you're Irish. You must know a few brickies." I love getting Irish brickies in because they're really good hard workers, and
they're hungry.
You go to somebody in the city, and it could be a recruiter, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we hire a couple of Irish guys because they're just dogs. They go at it, and they've got, I don't know what it is, but something about, maybe it is those opportunities and seeing, right, well, there is so much potential here. I've got to make the most of it, but we don't sit around and sort of sit in our arse.
There's probably two things. If you've had the guts to jump on a plane and leave your family and fly to the other side of the world, the chances are that you've got that instinctively in you. You're get-go. You're not going to sit in your ass and wait for the opportunities to come past you, because you need to get up and get them. So if you've done that first jump, I'd say you're probably, that's the hardest thing you'll do.
Yeah.
I like to go to the gym. The hardest part of going to the gym is getting in the car and going to the gym.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you've came here. You're not going to waste it. Your family are looking at you.
Yeah.
And they want to. You want to go back and tell them, "Oh, Mummy, I've done this week, and this is what I'm doing, and I'm doing flying. I'm going well," and you don't want to go back.
Yeah, sure.
So the only way you're not going to go back is to get off your ass and work hard and make it. So not everybody does do that.
Yeah.
And there's a fair share of people that do come over here and they fuck around and they give the rest of us a bad name. But
yeah.
But luckily there's not that many of them.
Yeah.
So I think it's an immigrant thing, and I don't think it's dissimilar to if you look now at the Italian community, like back in the early 1920s, 1930s, there would have been a big influx of Italians in here, and if you look at the positions that a lot of those Italian families have find themselves in now, is and it's down to hard work and putting in the effort, and the secret sauce is time. So the same thing. The Irish community will have that immigrant mindset, work hard. This is, I'm a guest here, we're going to work hard, prove my worth, stay here, and I can build a very good setup for myself.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you mentioned, that gutsy thing of, leaving all your family behind to come to the other side of the world. That can be fucking hard, can't it? You're in a similar position to me with the kids in terms of ages and everything. And it can be hard with no help around, and that's probably one of the challenges that a lot of us have is you come out here and you love the city and you love the atmosphere and you love the weather and you love the opportunities.
Yeah.
And you want to stay in that, but then it comes to the time when you decide, well, maybe we should try and have a family, but you don't have grandparents around, you don't have that support network that you would have. I'm not saying even if you're at home, sometimes you might not have that support network because people have lives and people have to work and all that, but you're completely isolated over here, mate, in that sense. How much of a factor was that? Obviously you said about the opportunities and you love it here and everything. Was there any part of you that maybe considered going back home whenever you did think it was time to have a family because of that family connection being there?
I think I think it's typically, not all, but typically males find it a lot easier to break that disconnect. And that's what you're asking. There's a lot bigger burden on Joanne than there's on me, because I get to go to work every day, and that's Joanne would love to go to work, I'm sure, but she's looking after 3 kids under 5. Yeah, that's high pressure and that's stressful. What I do, I love doing what I do, so I can't really complain. But, could I do what Joanne does if the roles were? Probably not, to be quite honest with you. But that's what she's pitching in. And my job is to kind of make sure that we're secure and we've got financial security and whatnot. But a very hard role to do. Doesn't matter where you're at, I don't think. If you've got your family support there, and I don't think the grass would be greener. If we were back home, would people be flocking around us and saying, "No, I'll take the kids for"? I don't think that would happen either.
Yeah.
It would certainly, you get maybe 1 or 2 nights and you'd have a lot more babysitters, but you know, the payoff that was, you know, how condensing those. I just use my own example of 3 kids under 5. If they were stuck in a house all winter,
Yeah.
they'd go bananas as well, you know, and
True.
they need to get out and burn the energy. And,
Yeah.
So like I think the opportunities are fantastic here, and now I'm getting my oldest boy's 5, also called Owen, South Euro. But now he's finishing kindy now, and he's going to go into pre-primary next year. But now we've kind of found this connection that we didn't really have before with the community or in the school.
Yep.
I'll pick up Mount Hawthorne Primary School because the community that we've felt just in this kindy class has been phenomenal. Like,
Great.
And now we've opened up this completely new network that kind of, as an immigrant, we didn't really have. You know, is kind of we're meeting a lot more Australian people, and you know, they're all in different facets of life in different industries, and you're connecting with them more, which is fantastic. So the kids bring a lot more network to us as well. You know?
That's something that probably a lot of people don't think about. Is obviously coming over, you lent heavily into the Irish connection with the St. Paddy's Day parade and the business network and all that. And probably, you know, you've got your community, you meet all the Irish people and you become good friends with them. But then you don't really think about the school element until it actually happens. And then, like, well, even when the baby's born, I guess the mums group things happen, and then suddenly you get matched up with a few people in your area who's had babies around the same time, and you get a couple of mates and everything else around there. But the school one is a really strong one, mate, and it's one that I never thought about, you know, making new friends and how close you can become with those people, because the kids become close, and then suddenly you're talking to X person's dad or mum or this fella's, you know, and find out all about their lives, their backgrounds and everything else, and how close things can become there.
Because the kids are all of a similar age, you've got a lot of stuff going on in common, and then they become friends, and then you know, you're kind of relying on them. So look, I'm going to be late to lift Oren. Could you take him for a while, or you know, things like that start to happen. You know, it's and because you're all around the same primary school essentially. They're your neighbours, and you become your community. So I'm enjoying that at the minute. Just kind of leaning into that kind of community spirit, which is something that I didn't really feel here before, because it was kind of, you're always renting, or you were moving around, and you know, here in the places I lived anyway, that was kind of, you didn't really know your neighbours. But now that we're kind of settled in Mount Hawthorne, we're starting to know our neighbours, you know, and it's I'm enjoying that, because it kind of reminds me of home. Where you did know your neighbours and you helped them out, and you know, there's a community spirit. So
brilliant, mate. Brilliant.
Yeah, enjoying that.
And then, mate, what's next now? Like, there's heaps of people listening here, mate, that could be previous guests who are in, you know, the civil space or construction or recruitment or whatever. Like, for Kilmore to really solidify their space as this top tier contractor that, you know, you are clearly developing that reputation as, what's next? Like, what does Kilmore Group need in terms of, is it finding more people to grow the team and take on more work? Is it, you know, somebody like a branding expert? Like, who do you guys need to connect with, if there's anyone listening to this?
Probably there's 2 trains of thought there that came into my head, but the first one is in terms of us keep growing and growing and growing. I don't think neither myself or Oren want to get to this company that's, you know, churning lots and lots of money, and you know, that just seems like a headache. We're quite comfortable with the level we're at, and you know, but the next stage of our growth kind of looks a bit differently. We're going into the development space. We've currently got 3 in play at various stages at the minute. Excuse me. And that's exciting, because it's all new, and it goes back into what you said before. What are the challenges? And if you're not getting challenged every day, or you come to work, or find that next level that I talk about, for us, that's the next level. It's kind of how do we find these developments? So it's kind of going right back to learning. It goes, how do we look at a feasibility study? What's involved? How do we like, what's a cap rate? And you know, how do we evaluate these buildings? And some fantastic options. It's very hard to get stuff to stack, but if using our particular skill set, it kind of, if you listen to any of those podcasts, they say that the sticky part's trying to get a builder. to sign up to a contract. And I kind of think that's where we're got the strength to jump into the development space. So we can kind of give a little bit more surety around the cost of construction. So we're looking for opportunities at the minute. So so we're looking to connect with anybody in kind of that space and has got good opportunities and maybe heritage listed buildings that are coming up. That they're looking to in their portfolio. They're looking has potential, but maybe need a builder to jump in partnership with them to kind of get it over the line. So those kind of opportunities is something that we're open to. In terms of other, I'm willing to connect with anybody. I think the more people you connect with, the better.
Yeah, of course.
So definitely open to connect to whoever wants to. So.
Yeah, and that shows, because I got your number off Jamie 2 weeks ago. I sent you a text. I didn't want to just cold call you. It's like, listen, mate, would you be interested in a podcast? I heard you'd love to talk about Kilmore and business manager role. Text me straight back saying, hey, listen, I'm overseas at the minute. Let's talk next week. Phoned you the next week.
Yeah.
Straight on the phone. Yep, let's book a coffee for Thursday. Let's jump on the podcast the week after. And you're clearly approachable, mate. So if there is anyone who's listening, or like those guys sound like they run a good company, they'd either be maybe good people to work for or with, I encourage them to get in touch. So what would be the best way? Would it be email, LinkedIn?
Yeah,
what's your
email probably is the best thing. The LinkedIn thing, like I'm trying to wean myself off all the social medias. I'm getting them all off my phone now, because I was wasting too much time just scrolling. Email is always the best. You're quite happy you can share my email address, and I'm sure you can do that at the bottom of the podcast or something.
Yeah, I can put that in the link in the bio, mate, as well. So,
but definitely always willing to connect. It's probably something that we don't do enough. Certainly myself and Oren, we're kind of focused all the time and in the business, and we sometimes it's good to get up and step up and go meet people and have a chat, and you don't know where that opportunity might come from. So definitely I need to do more of that. So that's something that I need to work on.
And that's the thing, mate. It's not that instant gratification. Like, for example, us connecting could lead to something 2 years down the line, or you connecting with somebody who's listening could then be a spark of a relationship now, that then they might think of you guys for a job in 2 years' time, or you might think of them that you need their services further down the line, And I think whenever you go into any networking scenario with that given hand of, well, I just want to know more about you and the business and find out if we can help or do something, and not really expecting anything, but just being like, good people connecting with good people, mate, then you're always going to win in the end, because it'll come up in conversation, about fitness, about building, about whatever, marketing, branding, whatever the product is that somebody's got. You'll always think, oh, I know somebody who does branding. I know someone who wraps cars. I know somebody who does fitness. I know somebody who does building,
It's very important that we give the Perth Irish Business Network a plug.
Yes.
That's exactly what they do. And I was part of that when it set up, but it just life's too busy for me at the minute to keep going with it. But they're phenomenal for that. I think I was going to the events very much when I started. I haven't been to a few now, but brilliant. I've hired 2 or 3 people from those events.
Brilliant.
Connected with another few people. We've had 2. The guy who built our first website came from a similar kind of event to that. We had a guy in a month ago now who was going to talk to us about AI and how we can implement AI into our business, which is what we're in that pathway to do. So like, phenomenal. You don't know who's going to jump out at you in those events.
I mean, that's funny, because the reason why I started to get back in touch with you and Oren was because I met up with him off the back of it, and he says, oh, I saw you at the Irish and business thing, but I didn't get to say hi. I was just having a couple of drinks with Oren from Kilmore Group, and that put Oren back in my head, and then I started to drive past Kilmore just accidentally, being like, oh, fuck, they're right there and all that, and I was like, I need to reach out to these boys again, because you've got a good story, and I love having Irish-owned businesses on the podcast, even though we talk to South Africans, we talk to Aussies, we talk to Kiwis, we talk to anyone who's got a good story. But I think in my head now, I'm like, right, Irish business and that, like you mentioned, he saw me at the event, realised that we're connected, sent me a message, mentioned Kilmore Group. then we've connected, and it's funny how those things work, mate,
Yeah.
in a real roundabout way. You know, I didn't talk to Oren or him at the event, but then we ended up all connecting in a roundabout way, you know.
And they all know each other in that event. So like if I was there and I knew what you did, I said, oh, you should go and talk to him, or
Yeah, for
you know, and make that introduction. And I think it's always easier when somebody makes the introduction for you. It kind of breaks the ice a little bit.
exactly, mate. Yeah,
So
yeah.
So
And that's something one of our previous guests, Harry, had said, because she was talking about she does sales and she does, you know, lead development for people. And I was talking to her about, you know, networking in person versus following up with leads and all that. And she just said something so simple, which is like, if you go to a networking event and you know nobody there, just get talking to one person and then ask that one person to introduce you to one person that they know. Or if you go and there's only one person you know from the last time, because that's the one you said hi to, say, hey, who can you introduce me to today?
Yeah.
And all it is just, can you make one solid connection at those things, and just get the other person who you do know and you are comfortable with talking to introduce you, because then suddenly that has a lot of value when somebody does introduce you, and it just breaks that ice, mate, and takes the pressure off a bit.
yeah, with those things you can always be. Like, I don't think I'm doing it for 8 years now, but I still feel awkward.
Yeah, sure.
I still go in there and I'm nervous and I'm shy, and you know, oh, nobody wants to speak to me. You know, You still get those kind of feelings. You know? You just need to get past them, and you go, everybody else is in the same position.
100%.
You came here to get the job done. Get the job done. Go speak to somebody. And you know, I think the hardest bit was going there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Just once you're there, just relax.
Yeah.
Get on with it. And that's brilliant advice. Just talk to one person and start there, and then see how you go.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, and we might see at one of those events. Mate, if we do, we'll take a selfie and we'll put it up on the LinkedIn.
I don't know when you're pulling this one out, but the next one's on the first Thursday of December, which is the Christmas one.
Yeah, right. It'll be a big turnout, will it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but
usually.
it normally is. Usually 40 or 50 people there. So.
Yeah, fair. And everyone's in that, networking, party, festive mood anyway. So
yeah.
I've only been once, but there was probably about 40 odd people there. Yeah. So I imagine maybe a few extra heads coming in because they're in that season, and let's go out and do it. So
no, definitely. Get yourself along.
Yeah, well, I will, mate. I've only been to one so far, and I absolutely shot myself walking in. But like you say, you just nut up and you just say, I'm just going to talk to some people, and they'll introduce you and whatever. And the rest is history, mate. I'll be back next week for sure.
Yeah, good.
And this should be going out in the next week or so, mate. And like I said, it's a new format. We haven't really looked at the camera, in a while. We've been looking at each other. But it's a different format. Hopefully it comes across as well as the previous one, and hopefully the mics are all working. But I appreciate the time today, mate, and also the time and allowing me to set up, because I didn't realize we were in this new setup today until the last minute. So I mean, what I'll do is I'll get your email address and I'll put that in the description so people can just click and send an email to you, connect over a coffee or whatever, and take things from there, mate.
Perfect.
Brilliant, mate. Appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
What?
I'll knock all this off, but that went well, mate.
Yeah, that was alright.
I like to not really have.
I didn't think it cost too much.